I was born in Silesia in Germany. That is an eastern part of Germany. Now it is Polish after the war. And born in 1925. May 25, 13th May 25. And my parents, my dad, he's a carpenter. And all the time I had a hard time with him because I'm a left-hander and he's a right-hand. To him, he screamed at me all the time, take the hammer and the right. Well, that's it. And then even in school, I had a hard time. I want to, I was not a good, I had not a good handwriting. And because I would be rather, when I was in the third grade, we had to write a story at home, and I hurt my right hand, so I wrote it with the left hand. He said to me, you didn't write this one. I said, yes, I did. I said, you didn't write it. That you never wrote that good. I said, I wrote it in the left hand. And the next thing I had is a couple hits in the face. He hit me. Don't you know it's not allowed? You have to write with your right hand. So they forced me to write with the right hand. Now in all my family now, only Karen is the left-hander writing. See, now I'm in both hands. For instance, like a hammer, I cannot do it with the right hand. I have to do it with the left hand. To cutting something with a scissor, I have to do it with my right hand. I cannot do it with the left hand. Of the first running tour, and when I was 6 years old, I had meningitis. And I had a sister. I was not even born yet. She was 2 years old. She died on meningitis. And so when I was for 3 weeks, I was in coma. Nothing, and then came the night of the crisis, and the doctor told my mother that tonight there's two things. I'm gonna die or a miracle gonna take place. My mother, the hospital was about around 10 kilometers away from her home. She rode every time with a bike to came, and then now on that particular morning, when she couldn't go in, when I was this whole 3 weeks, they couldn't get into my room, and only staying outside by the window to look into. And here they are, when she sees from far away that the window was wide open, and there she thought, oh, they took him out already, And then a nun came. It was a Catholic hospital, and the nun said to her, my mother, the miracle happened. Your son is completely, no more sickness in his body, only weak. My brother, once a month, my mother thought that he is in school. He walked 10 kilometers. He brought me stuff, the playthings, and so that was when I was 6 years old. And so I had an older brother. He was 5 years older than I am. Then I had a sister. She was 3 years younger. And then a younger brother. He was 5 years younger. And
so there were 4 in your family?
Yeah, we were 4. My older brother, he got killed in the last days of war. And my sister, she was, when she was the end of war, when the Russian came into the village where we lived, she was raped by the Russian. And she was 14 years old. We all the time were like cat and dog, fighting. She had all the time the big mouth, and she had to have the last word. Well, that was my sister. But later on, she did something I never forgot what she did. And that was when I was at the army, and we was where I was stationed in Germany. That's about 100 kilometers away from my home. That we had to go to there, that we were gonna be moved to France, and that the parents could come in to visit us. Now my dad, he was working in Hamburg, and my mother, she was in that time, she was visiting my dad, and my sister now, then the parents, the father from one of my friends who was together in the labor force, he came to the house and he told me and my sister that, if he wants to go with the train, and so she did. My dad and I was smoking in that time, and they had a lot of cigarette in a nice cabinet, with glass, and was locked all the time. She just broke the lock and get me stuff. My mother would never brought me so much than my sister did, But my daddy was very happy that she did it, And so that's what I bought a nice ring when I was in France. When we had the first follow to go out, so we went out and buy something like that. So I bought a nice ring for my sister. And I loved, all the time I read books about America, cowboys, Indians. For instance, we have Karl May books. That's about all the time about 600 pages. And this Karl May, and he was like a Catholic missionary adventure, looking for adventures, about all the time, tried to get the people into Christianity, He was the blood brother of a Apache chief, and then in Arab, when he was in in the Middle East, he had another friend. He was a Muslim, and when all the time he said, "You can do what you want. I make you be a Muslim." But all the time, in the end of it, they became Christian, And so I was all the time, I was reading cowboy stories, Indian stories, And that was my interest. When I was in first grade, that was in 1931, I seen the first Mickey Mouse movie. They bought a lot of Mickey Mouse movies, for us children in school, And then later on, we had some American movies. I got the tape. I seen that movie when I was a kid in Germany, in the German language, it turned over, but it's in English. It was an English movie, And that was in my dream as a youth to be in America. Never knew that I'm gonna live over here, I was also as a teenager, I mean, in the Hitler Youth, and we did a lot of things together, the boys together, and then we were once Pentecost. I forgot that I had birthday when I came. When we had we went to go by bike, driving about a couple of 100 kilometers, sleeping and by the farmers, and so in fact we was there in the farm, and all of a sudden we walked out, and looked at the village. Some guys came and, hey, you know what? Some girls are moving into they're gonna stay sleeping in the farm too. They are from a big city, and but they were older than I was. The girls were all about 20 years old, and I was in that time 15 years old, yeah. And so, well, we had to nice together, played, singing together, and so. And in the morning, I get kissed by a cow. I was laying right on the end of the farm, and then there was the pathway, and the farmer, he let the animals, the cows going to the fields, and one cow was sitting at that, and with her tongue she licked my face, I woke up and screamed from the bottom of my stomach, her tongue was like a raw file, sandpaper, when she crashed me over the face, Well, that was our waking. So we had a good time, When we was, now everybody had to go before you go in the army. He has to go in the labor force for 3 months. And when the labor force we were building streets or digging for air raids, bunkers, and stuff like that. And I had all the time a loud voice, and nobody knows me that my name was Gerhard. Everybody from us boys had a nickname, and they called me Paul because when we played in the school, that dramas, I was playing all the time a policeman because I had the uniform from my dad, and so we had very much fun. And then one time, we had to play, and we need the guy said, well, the main actor was a guy who goes around, begging when he had a music box, you turn it with the wheel, And I said, I said to my leader, I said, I think I can get one like that. Okay, good. So we borrowed that, and we have made that. We made that play, with the real thing there. And I was playing the policeman again, and so they said all the time, if you, like I said, if you remember one with a big mouth, it was me, because I had a loud voice. And because of the loud voice, when I came to the labor force, and they put me aside and said, well, if I want to volunteer to be a leader, and I wouldn't mind. And that was a good thing because 2 days later, there came a commission from the SS to to find some volunteers for the SS. And our commander from the labor force, he told our leader, we were 30 men, he said, take your men and don't come back before evening. Because he told him that there are some SS coming, they want to get some people, And so we went there. When we came back, one of my best friend, he was crying. And they said, first of all, they told a good story, how they advanced in the SS, Also to make it nice, brought them, advertised the best things, from the SS. And they asked for volunteers. Only from 200 men, only 2 men volunteered. But then there was a doctor from a certain height, 1.65 meters, and up, they were all taken to the SS. And the lower one, and the smaller one, they didn't use it, And then we were so surprised, there was one guy in the evening, he was over 2 feet tall, I mean, in the American measurements, How in the world that they didn't took you? He said, well, he was sitting the whole day in the bathroom, locked himself up, They didn't get it, Well, I mean, I was drafted, and then, see, by us is this, I went only 8 years in grade school. And then when I graduated from 8th grade, I went and I learned electric machine builder. So then they have special schools for every trade. See, and then you go to school and that one, Like we had also middle school in Germany. That means that you went to 6th grade, and then from 6th grade to 12th grade is middle school. 6th grade to from the 6th grade to 12th is middle school, and then after that you go in college. We call it gymnasium. But then the parents had to pay a lot of money, and you couldn't do that. So I learned my trade as an electric machine builder. That means preparing electric motors. See, and I had to learn 3.5 years. In 1939, in 1939 I started my trade as an apprentice. The year make you make a lot of money. The first year I made a week $1.50, or you would say $1.50, a whole week. That's what. Yeah. The second year $2.50, the third year $4.50, and the fourth year $6 a mark, a week. And my mother, she in all the time, she was thinking, now, I had to give money up, When I made the $1.50, I had to give up $1.50 I could keep of myself. And the same thing in second year, I could keep $1, So, yeah, she was strict in this case, money-wise. Reminds me on that, time. And then I had to go to labor force because that I went for different, in school as a leader, I became a drill instructor in the labor force, like a sergeant, And I was then 1 year, instead 3 months only, I was 1 year in the labor force. And after that, I didn't even know that we were have to go to the army. And when I get to the army, we had to I get I had to report that I am now ready for the army. Yeah, and it said, that I am that I have to go to special school for officers. I said, I don't want to. No. Because of you, I was a drill instructor there. They wanted to do it. So I said, no, I don't want it. I cannot English and so forth. And all. I didn't went to high school. And that, no, there's nothing to do with that, What they need is officers leading people in a fight, And you don't have to talk English or something like that. All right, and I don't want it. That look, if you want to be that is not good, first then you are like against the country, would be against Hitler. All right, do what you want. And so we went on to France. We was our company. We were in training for for drill instructors. First for sergeant, for a leader for a squad, then a leader for a platoon, and later on, then when you've been in a school like West Point, that you would be like leading a company, And so we was then in France until the invasion starts. That I was all the time we lived on the Atlantic coast. In fact, even we lived in a village that was there were rich houses belonged to the millionaires from the United States. For instance, like we stayed in the villa belonged to Rockefeller, now we have in New York, and has seen there the first king-size bed. Wow, we've never seen something like that, And well, then I was with the and a farm. There was a farm. I was like home there, And man, he could a little bit German, talking. And he was in the First World War. He was in the German prison camp, prison of war camp, and he told me, they called me Gerhard, Said, invasions start? I said, no, don't you hear boom, boom, boom? When you really were listening, you hear it from the far, like the bombings, And half an hour later, we got the report, that the invasion started, that they came, and we have to be sent back to Germany. Then we that we had to go. They made it out that the American would take German soldiers till from the night from 8th to the 9th of May, till 12 midnight. After that, they would send them back to the Russian. And that was my mind. Where I was, I lived in the eastern part of Germany. I was only about 80 kilometers away from my home. And but no, I said, I don't want to go to the Russian. So we were on the way we had to go to Karlsbad, that's a city. And when the American, we've been there before not the midnight, from the night from 8th to the 9th, they would take us prisoners of war than the American. But we get our bus broke down, and we get caught by the Czechoslovakian partisan, and I had I had a pair of gloves, leather gloves. They were the best one, but in Germany, they made in Germany. And I don't want to, we had to take everything out, empty our pockets. Well, and then we had to get out, and then they said to me, here, take the shoes off. Oh no. No, the right foot was all right. I took it out and the glove sticks in my pants. But in the left foot, the glove foot stuff came out. And so the boss from the leader from the partisan, they came and hit me, he tried to hit me in the face, and I was just came from the hospital, and I wouldn't said, well, you cannot hit me in the face, I thought. So I had almost like a boxing match with them, not knowing that two guys with the rifle was hitting me in the back, And then they get called, and they pushed me away and said, wait, you're going to get shot. And then there were already a lot of dead bodies laying there, on the fence. And we had to move them on your stomach. And then all of a sudden, we were laying on the stomach. He came back. And he said, look up. Now the guy next to me, I never knew him. And he said, what in the world you did? And I said, I don't want to, that he hit my face, that he break my jaw. And that now he's going to kill you. He said, I got a second pair of glasses. Put them on. So I put the second pair of glasses, his second pair of glasses, I put them on. And we had to all look up. Now he was looking for me, but he knew I didn't wear glasses. And he was cursing and swearing. But then we had to wear that away. And in 5 men in a row, we were in the street, and he was next to me, and then was the street, people were lining up, hitting with sticks on us, and everybody hated us. And so all of a sudden, he hit me so in the hand, like that, and he was gone. He jumped, and I heard some bullets and some shots, and he was gone. Nobody seen him. And they wouldn't even they looked for him, but they couldn't find him. And an angel with glasses. We came then there by the Russian, and then they said the Russian, we looked at them, and the guys were sitting on the street, and they were all laughing, smiling, and we were everything but smiling, and they thought not by the Russian that we will get killed, But they teach us when we know that already. We had experienced that during the war. And then they said, no, Stalin said everybody can go home. Well, when is this? So I went and with two guys, we walked and we were getting released. We could go where we want to, And for 3 days we've been walking, and I was walking backwards to my hometown. And then they said, we came to a village, and that we have to go to the office over there. They want to make paper out. And we don't have no papers, and I understand that, that you need some papers, to who you are and what, And so that was the beginning of about almost 5 years prisoner camp. We went then over there, and then we had to sleep overnight over there. Then they sent us to a camp, and then it was the beginning. Then in that camp it was about about around 10,000 people there, And we was there in that camp for about a few months. We did nothing, just stay there. And every day they carried those dead ones out. We had not enough to eat. And then they made Automal to entertain, themselves. Then he was in the camp. He was, and there was 100 men together like a company, and there were singing groups to come. And the best singing group gonna get as a thing 2 dinner extra, and the second prize they get 1, prizes, and so we made the second prize in singing, Then from there out, we came then to Stettin, where we had to work, load ships. We know that I was a skilled man, I had a skilled trade, fixing up electric motors. So I became then, with another guy, we had to, what our job was, fix electric motors from the cranes, from the, from machines and stuff like that. And so we was from 1945 and winter, also in this November, we started in October. We came to Stettin and 45, and then I was there till November 1949. And at that time we had to work. In fact, even one day, that was in 1946, when I almost get killed with a friend of mine. We had to work, clean a building, and we found a bag with flour. And so, and we all the time we had a little canteen with us to make something. We will find something to eat or one thing. So he said, "Oh, I'm going to make a soup, a flour soup." All right. And when the almost soup was done, I get called away. And I was kind of angry. Why in the world? I said, well, and I told my buddy that to make sure that I get my half of it, that I don't worry about it. 3 hours later, when I came back, he was dead. What we found, for everything but flour. But it looks like flour. When you are almost starving, everything looks like to eat. And so if the Russian not came, the Russian soldier, to pick me up, to work for to have to do something special, I would be the same. I would be the dead like the other guy. We had to move out a lot of times. We had to when we not. I was working in a factory, like a little factory, where we did repairing electric motors, and we had a group. They're making jewelries, rings, Now everybody, but also with silver or gold, or bronze, what you can find, They mixed it up, and I had the key for the room where all the fuses were. Now in Germany, the fuses, for the electric signal, there were silver strips. Here in the United States, there's aluminum, And so I knocked them out and took the silver out, and the guy gave me then roughly 4 rings to make, and then we wieder sell it to the civilian. I was working with civilian, and then also I found the box, and I was hiding it in the room where we were working, and there was from a hospital soldier, from a hospital, all those instruments there. So I took a scissor, I went to the kitchen, set them to the first aid helper, and he was a doctor, and I told him this one. And for that one I get the dinner extra. And so then the next one, then he gets suspicious that, hey, listen, you must have something, you gotta have something, a treasure, what you want. So I told him what I got. All right, for half a year, I get 2 dinners, because of the surgery instruments, what we get, and a lot of things, the workers, they took, they bring it into camp, stuff, and we then worked in the, we worked with in the factory, we worked with civilian, we took it in there, and they sold it again to the Polish people. And so that means that went in 3 times, we get a little bit, but anyhow to make, to get you a little bit food extra, I was 92 pounds in 46 in February. And then we tried to escape. We digged a ground, a hole to get under the fence, like the movie have the Great Escape, but then only we didn't finish it. It's getting a traitor, tilted them out. The commander, the old office from the German command, they were sent to Stalingrad, and so then another case was where we really suffered. 2 guys, they worked for they were special guy for the general boat. He had a speedboat, and they had to take care of it. They get all the gasoline and whatever they needed. And then they took off with the guard, and a couple of days later they found the guard dead, Oh, brother, then they almost killed us, we get beaten, and then we paid for that, But what can you say, Then again, I was working in the room, and the Russian guard was there sleeping in the corner, and who had to watch me, And the captain came, the Russian captain, and he was a terrible officer. And he came and said, where is the guard? Convoy, And I said, aboard, that means a restroom. Oh, he was cussing and swearing, But he walked away, and he heard me, and he came to me and said, Spasiba, Tavarish. That's meant, Danke schön, thank you, comrade, And so, and then a few days later, the soldiers came to me, you good man. They would have if I would have told him, he's sleeping over there, he would get killed, he would get shot, And so the things when you did something bad thing, something good things, you worked your life, In December came a Russian major from Potsdam, and to find out what it is. And I was glad there when he came into the camp, and he told the guard, the police, our police, but they were all communists, And he said, gentlemen, I don't need you. I understand German perfect, and I want to talk with the men personally. You have your job to do, go and attend to your job, and I will be fine. Well, they had to go, and then he talked them to all the soldiers, on the other movement, and wrote it up and read it up. And then we had to come all together in the dining room, and he said, well, I said, I'm only a major. I cannot promise nothing. But what I will do for a major, I will do. And sure enough, after Christmas, all of a sudden, we received money the first time. Not much, but so they opened the canteen in the camp and bring some foodstuff in there, and so we bought something. And then first of all, we couldn't write, was forbidden. We was a camp, what was a secret camp. We didn't even, according to that, we didn't even exist, And so we could write and receive mail from home, and and the funny thing was, from the Western Germany, all the Polish, I have to say, the Polish mail, the mail, they have to send no stamps on that, only prisoner of war postage, and they accepted. In East Germany, they had to pay money. They had to pay stamps. A lot of things, they came to get the packages, and to receive the mail, they had to pay. We couldn't figure that out. There, the Russian, on the eastern part, But that's the way it happens, And I have to say, the Polish, I have to take they were very nice to us, with that. In November, and then only to find out that my older brother was killed by in the last days of war. My mother, she told me only that a Catholic priest told her that he blessed his grave on the 19th April 1945. And he used to be in the headquarters from Hitler, and then he ran away, and I think he got killed by the own people, because he had no papers, no nothing, 1952. And I was working as a fixer, repairing electric motors, and there I met my lovely wifey. But it's not good if you date a girl you work with.
Oh, really?
Well, let's face it, I was everything but a gentleman. And especially, we had to work with women together, And she all the time loved to be that I would be a gentleman. But like I said, I was everything but, I had my fun with them, Once in a while, then we had to, only one thing they hated her, us, the women, they had to, the electric motor, when you take it off, what we did on the women, had to put the wiring in, And so the one morning, one guy said, hey, listen, look at it, I got a dead mouse. So we took the dead mouse and put it by the one woman, on the motor. And now when they then came in, the woman's talking, first of all. Then they're sitting down to get starting working, and there she's screaming from the top of her lung, The mice wasn't there. Well, we had our fun, And so we worked together, and I fell in love, and a lot of time. But like I said, it's not so good, We had more fight arguments before the wedding than after the wedding, So one thing about two, there was another guy, it was raining, and we drive all the time on the road with the bike to work, We had no cars. And I was wet, but I was sitting on a chair and I had like a holster, sitting on there. And then the other guy only had nothing, so he came to me, took it away from, gave it to him. Now, I was everything but happy now. And as well, so we had, once in a while we had to go, we had a party. That means the company made and then they said, we went to a certain place, going around, and they rented a big room with nice food to drink and everything. And then entertainment. Who did the most entertaining, get an electric motor from the company, Well, I did a lot of things, So, and I made a song up about electric motor, and that became the motor, the song from the company. In fact, even it has to go through a lawyer, I had to sign it, that I give my consent. What I wrote about the electric motor, that it is no other company could take it, And lady, the boss's lady, and she told an engineer when we left home that for me only one man get electric motor. That is Gerhard Tschoepe, And then we had to do something to. I told them, buddy, how about we make the black like a witch thing, and so you hypnotize me, All right, so I was sitting there with talking to him, and he was standing there, and look at me all the time to hypnotize me, And then I get quiet, and then I stand up, and I start, taking my shirt off, taking my shirt off, my jacket off, start undressing myself, And then when the people, they looked at me, everyone laughing, then they get quieter, And I was only in my underwear, and I wanted to try to that, And that, and then he give me like a time, to stop, and I woke up like that. I read up, I thought I get mad, I hit him back in the face right before, and ran out, with my glove, And they all thought that was really, the women, they are so afraid of this guy that he can hypnotize, That was only a game, what we did. And see, like that's when I met your mother, your Oma, she was 17 years old. I never forget. I sitting with my wife. I dated my wife, And she talked about she had to babysit. Well, I told her she babysit a baby. It was a 14-year-old sister, Tante Ella. And now, over a year, somebody, they live in a little building, farmhouse, and there was a uphill, and we had somebody laughing, giggling. What's the matter now? There she came, Ola, giggling. I asked her, what in the world are you giggling for? Oh, I said, I was afraid. I'm all the time when I'm afraid, I'm giggling. You know, that I don't get afraid. You know, she was afraid when she walked the hill up alone that somebody would come, you know. So she was on the, keep herself laughing, you know. I was shocked. You know, we had all the time good together. She was learning shorthand, writing in shorthand, and she taught me a little bit. Then we both wrote letters to each other in shorthand. And my wife, she all the time brought them in. We were not married yet, you know. We brought it and to read it, you know. Yeah, we was all the time. We were the best, Ola and I. You know. Like I said, we fell in love, and then she said that then her uncle, in America, you know, they would try to, that they could get to the United States. Okay, and then, all right, so we get married, and then we went into all the kind of camps and stuff like that, you know. And I never drove a car. I couldn't drive a car, or even a motorbike, you know. And so when we then finally came to the United States, and we seen in New York the traffic in New York car. Oh, no, I'm never gonna learn yet to drive a car, you know. That's impossible. No, I know. For 2 years, yeah, well, we came 42 and 50 for 1 year, you know. All the time I went with somebody else to take me to work, you know. And so, but then Chris, she was then a little girl, she wants to drive all the time in the car. Uncle Siegfried, he had a car already, you know, but he could drive, you know. And well, then finally I had a all the time the Chris, she wants to drive a car. I bought her a little car, you know, with the feet to drive. No. She wants to have a car. So sitting there, yeah. Now what I can do, so I took my lesson, a driver's training, you know, and I bought, my first one was a 54 Bel Air Chevy. It was a nice car. And then I had an accident, somebody drove into me. And so I bought then a 55 Dodge Royal Enfield Custom. That was the best, that the top line from the Dodge. And 3-tone color, you know, beautiful. When we left to Germany, to America, my mother was, she was really hurt. She all the time thought about, in case something happens, that you would stay with me. I was the oldest. And my sister was married already when I was in prison camp. In fact, even I had a card made out, and you know this card I still got home. I could show you that. And when they had the wedding, I wrote to where my parents lived, and if they would send this one the card and maybe some flowers, if I come home, I'm gonna pay them, you know. And they brought the gift, you know, from me as a prisoner of honor in the camp, you know. Everybody was crying. Nevertheless, Then I was thinking we go to Germany. I told my mother that in about 5 years I will come to visit. And the landlord, he was the police chief even, and he said, "You're never gonna make it." All right. And well, that was in 52 when we said goodbye. In 53, my mother, she wrote, "Oh, if you would be longer in the United States, now they're gonna build houses now. Build, but they would have to have 11,000 marks down payment. And then they have to do this themselves working on the house, For instance, like digging the basement, and there was nothing like that. You had here the machine coming on, with the shovel and pick, you dig the hole for the basement, and building then the house. Well, anyhow, and I just said that was in 1954, and I just saved. I had about maybe $2,000 saved, and I sold my mother, and then they offered Sperrmarks for $1 7 marks, Sperrmarks, but the parents wouldn't get the money. That goes to the company who's building the houses, And so I said, okay, they said that would be my house, and we had thought about we go back to Germany. And so I sent the money, and my in-laws, they said, "No, don't do that, don't do that. You cannot make it look at your last penny. You give sending your last penny." I said, no matter what, I'm helping my parents, And the Bible says, honor your father and mother. I did something but nobody else would do. Sent the last penny, to help the parents. And God honors me for that. I was not even saved that I didn't know the Lord there. But I just want to help my parents. I love my parents, Even. So they're building the house. And in 56, we finally made up that we go to vacation. There was only my wife, myself, and then the Chris was 5 years old, and Ingrid was 3 years old, and Irene wasn't. And Irma, she just was pregnant with Irene when we went to Germany, And in fact, I took the car with me. The Dutch, the Hollandser Kasten. I don't, kind of pride in there. I want to show them off, Want to make a little show off too. Well, anyhow, it was good that we took the car with us. We went in Germany, all over the place, And for my brother, he worked in a gas station, and fixing cars and especially motorbikes, And so the boss is, and I got all the time the gasoline from him. He said we were about 3 months in Germany. And the 3 months, I bought from him more gasoline than his best customer in 3 years, And so because, look at the V8, the big, compared to the small engines what in Germany get, I used a lot of gasoline too. But nevertheless, we drove and we had a good time. And people were crazy about the car, I was, Günther, my brother's name was Günther. Günther's brother was in America now. He was famous in the village and the surrounding, Yeah, we had a good time. And then I was my mother-in-law, she was saved already in Germany. before we came to the United States. And the one evening, she said they have the preachers coming to the house, And he came and he preached, But my dad, my father-in-law, he hated. He didn't want it. And my mother-in-law, she wanted to get, baptized. But my dad said, my daughter-in-law said, if she gonna get baptized, he gonna leave her. So she said, okay, because of the kids, everybody was talking, asking him, don't do it. We all, because we were not saved in that time, And but she met, and later on, she was the first one to meet in German people at a Pentecostal church. They went there. I went once in there, and I can say almost, not hated, but I said, not 10 horses gonna bring me back anymore in that church. Because the people said all the time they give testimony, they were the worst people, And what do you mean? I'm a nice guy. I'm not a criminal. No, what in the world are they talking about? They were the worst people. All right. Take to them if you believed in that. I'm a good man, And so for 2 years, my in-laws, they went, my dad, the father-in-law, they went and two in the church because this was a German church. And my wife, and the Irma, she went there too during the week service. And for 2 years, when people came to visit, we lived together. My in-laws and the Irma and my family, and they came and said when they came people to visit them, I walked out through the back door, but nothing to do with them. And then all of a sudden, after 2 years, I told my wife, I'm gonna go with you. And she was shocked, All right. So I went the first evening, and it was different, you made up your mind, and and doing, and you put yourself in a glass cage, don't hear what they say. Until when I heard it the first time, it was different, He was friendly, and the second, but it was not saved. The second time the same, and the second time the same thing. And then the third time when I went to the church, I had something like, I felt so bad, like 1,000 needles in my body, hurting. And I went and when he was talking then, and I thought he just talking to me, And well, when he then called me, then the altar call, I was the first one on the altar. Put myself on the floor and crying for 2 weeks, but maybe 10 minutes. Was laying there on my face. And then all of a sudden the pastor was praying. And then another guy. And all of a sudden, something like that. Something lifted me up. The pain was gone. The needle, the pain in the body, everything was on. There was something like flying. And there I know the Lord took my sin away. And that was when I get saved. Accepted the Lord as my Savior. And then bringing it up, before we know in Germany, when when I just came home from prison camp, I had to go for my dad, collect some money for there was a group of German people, that they all the time, they had like a party by themselves. And but they collected money, and there was immer the idea that they go back to Germany, to their homeland. And so when I came, that there was a Bible bookstore, and there was a nice picture on the wall hanging, and it says, hand-stick, but the lady that was about 65 years old. And she said, I meant what it means. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. But on German, And she said, you don't know? I said, well, I wouldn't have. They don't know David. Oh, yeah, David, Goliath, yeah, all that Bible story, yeah. Yeah, no, he wrote this psalm. And she said, as long as I live, I had everything. I missed nothing. And she told me that, and I was standing there. I just came home from prison camp. I had nothing. Only the clothes what I wore. That's the only thing I had. And, well, all right, I didn't mention. But later on, when we dated together, then she found out I'm Catholic, she is Lutheran. And I said, don't worry about it. Even if you're gonna be, if they have to get a Jew, I want you. I'm in love with you, This has nothing to do with fate or anything. I was in love with my wife, with Irma, And when the Lutheran pastor asked under what scripture verse we want to start our new life, I just passed it out. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. And he smiled at me and he said, you took the best one in the whole Bible, and that's from that moment on, and went up, 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 up. Not right away a big miracle or something happened, but slowly, See, I still was now in that area now, not even 10 houses gonna bring me to the Pentecostal, but I went to the Lutheran church. I went with the Irma, I went with Chris and Ingrid, and so far, that's that, and the Lord is good to us. He blessed me with 4 girls, and I'm thanking God that I have 4 girls and not a boy. Why is that? My wife, she is a special wife. And she would be, that if I would have a boy and the daughter-in-law, if she wouldn't be like my wife would be, she would have the hardest time, And I get 4 wonderful son-in-laws. They're all in faith, Spirit-filled, saved. My children all, saved and Spirit-filled when they get in age. And for instance, like the Irene, when it took me 2 years when I was saved, to get the baptism in the Holy Spirit. But now when they became a new pastor, he was the former president, the superintendent from the German branch. And the first night when he was preaching Sunday night, my wife, she got filled with the Holy Spirit. She don't say nothing. She said she's gonna stay there and pray till she get it, And she get it. The next Sunday night, Chris got the baptism in the Holy Spirit. The third Sunday night, Ingrid got filled with the Holy Spirit. They were all teenagers, see. And then when the Ingrid got the baptism, there was Irene, 8 years old. All of a sudden she was crying, praying. She was filled with the Spirit. She wants to have the same thing what her sisters have. And well, it was already almost 1 o'clock, 12:30, The kids have to go to school, they have to go to bed. And then the pastor, he told her, okay, Irene, next Sunday you're going to get it. And she went home. You couldn't see a happier girl. She was singing and praising and God and everything. What happened? Next Sunday I'm going to get the baptism in the Holy Spirit. And I asked her that, how you know? They told me so. You see what that means? They told me so. That is the Bible. We have to accept God's word as it is written. It says, the Bible says, but they told me so. It tells us to do it, what the scripture says, you know. And then I had to work that Sunday night. And she said, Daddy, you praying with Mom, you pray with Chris and Ingrid. Who's going to pray with me? You know, and I told her at 9 o'clock, I'm going to be alone. I'm going to lock my house up in the bathroom. I'm going to pray. And then after she got filled with the Holy Spirit, a special night service, you know. And you see, and I prayed with all my girls, but never prayed so much than with Irene, because I didn't know. See, now she's a pastor's wife. She needed my prayers. That's why I'm so thankful. Now that all my girls are Christian, I was so happy when the Karen said, well, she wants to go to Bible school. I'll go to Florida, you know. Here, Margie is a woman. She don't want to go no place. She wants to stay home. And this is fine. Now when we went to Florida, 1 week before the Bible school started, it was a week on the beach, have a good time. And then when we picked the end of the year, we picked her also in April, we brought her in, and then we took her home. So, you know, we had the best time, vacation time. As long as Irene was only 1 year in Bible school, that she met her husband. And the Irene, the Karen was 4 years, you know. And we had a good time, and all the time the Irma was there. In other case, she wouldn't go. See, we wanted to go to visit my sister that lives in Calgary, in Canada, but that's a long time. Finally, I get my wife to agree that we're gonna go, that we visit them. The Karen was about 5 years old, something like that. It was it was older. It was in 66. In 66 we went to. And we we started out, and in Fenton, you know, out in Fenton, that's 50 miles from here. I had to turn back. My wife was dying, sick, you know, she couldn't take it, you know, so we went home. We went home, I took her to the doctor, said, no, nothing wrong with her, just stress, you know. She's seen only the 3,500 miles ahead of her. Now the kids were all crying, Karen, and the Chris and the Ingrid. So next morning, what we gonna do? And then was noch from Uncle Siegfried, the Tochter, the Chris, was there and said, how about you want to go with us? Said, you take me? And they know when you've seen in the movie, the Popeyes, you know, like a wind, she was out of the house. Elfriede came. What's the matter? I said to her, you mentioned you're going to Canada? and they want to take my Chris with me. She's packing already, 1 hour later, we took off. And I just only can I thank the Lord. That's what I have, and what I've been through, His hands were upon me. My boss, when I was apprentice, he said, remember one thing, through damage, you get smart, but never rich. That means, and one thing is, when you're learning, before you start doing something, first figure out how you want to do it. And get your pictures of it, make yourself like a print, an invisible print, and then you do that. And then, like I said, I accepted the Lord Jesus Christ, and He is my own and all now. Now that I am alone, where can I go? I go to the Lord, and He gives me and He blesses me. When I talk to your Oma, and your mother and your Oma, they have the same language, What a lovely language, I don't know, no others from the girls, talking like your Oma and your mother. When we was there, in the time, all the time she looked around and called up, how she's doing, Oh, sweetie. Yeah. And see, I love them all, Jackie. See, when we went to Florida, Karen was in the school. 1 year, we could take Jackie with us. Cost me nothing. It was free, She went that one, and they were dressed like twins, And then later on, they said they were looking for, and they came for the twins, And yeah. And we had once in a while they brought up the Hawaiian dancing, and when we went in Florida, we went there, and you could see from all the girls, you and Jackie, she just was like swinging, and yeah, and she was, and Hillary, we got so many pictures, Hillary and Howie, when they are in the uniform, what they had, what they bought. In fact, when I went to, when they had all the, I went with your grandfather-in-law, Hilario, we call him Uncle Hilario, all the time, your grandfather. We went to New York to pick up your mother, your grandma, back from the school, and then Howard, he went with that was something I never forget, and how the Lord was blessing us. And one thing else, my mother-in-law, your great-grandmother, was dying in Germany. I had to go to Germany to stay, we wanted to take her back home. We had everything arranged with the airline in first class, that she would lay there to the flight one, but they wouldn't let her go. She has to die there, And so we had to wait. And when the last Sunday, we had a meeting in the hospital room. Uncle Siegfried, he had to go back to Germany. He was then vacation. And Uncle Adolf was then off there with his dad. And that Sunday night, all of a sudden, we had in the room, and she fell asleep. And then later on she woke up and said, you know, I had such a dream. I was eating, I seen a lamb, and the lamb was eating some fruit, and they were smelling. I mean, she said, I cannot describe how good the smell was, you know. She dreamed about the Lord, you know, the smell, the sweet taste from the Lord, what can fill into your heart. And then when we took him then to the airport, to the port, they went home with the boat too, and then she was alone. And the last day, when she noch remembers, Wednesday, I was sitting with her all night, and all the time was only Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. And then Saturday night she died. And but the people, they said, well, when they were astonished, you mean that is not your mother, she is your mother-in-law? And I said, no, she is not my mother-in-law. I cannot love my mother more than her. I love them both the same. Do you think you can do the same thing for your mother, what you did for her, you know? Well, that, yeah, I don't know. But I know only one thing. I loved her like my mother, you know. You see, and God is blessing us. Honor your father and mother, whatever you do in your life, you know. And one thing is this, even when you, like I said, my father, he never believed. He never went to church. But before he died, when I went there for the funeral, my mother told me that my dad was praying with the priest, Lord, forgive my sins, Lord, forgive my sins. And I said, Mother, that's all I want to know. Your dad is in heaven. How can you say that? How can you say that? I said, you know, Calgary, there were 3 crosses on there. Not only Jesus alone, there were 2 criminals next to him. The one said to him, help us, you know, and we go together away, and there was on you waiting like a foolish guy. We are here because we earned it, but he is innocent. And when he went to the Lord, and he said, Lord, remember me when you get into your paradise. And what Jesus said, today you will be with me in paradise. And that's what we call in Germany the grace, the thieves, the criminal's grace. You see, that's what my dad had. Okay, not, but he was not in the last second of his life. He was praying, Lord, forgive my sin. That's why my mother, she has accepted the Christ. When she said, but I cannot leave the Catholic Church. It's fine. But stay in the church. As long as you have the Lord in your heart. And that's what we have to have. I have the Lord in my heart. I know I'm not to see my wife again. She's waiting. So, I don't know. See, I know that your parents, your mother is saved and going to church, you know, and your Oma, your grandma, what a prayers she is. She went through a hard time. She went through hard times. No one from sisters would take your dad what she took. For 20 years, she was alone. Your grandfather, but she still loved him. Now she is there. You see how the Lord, He gonna keep His hands upon her. Well done, my good and faithful handmaid. You see. That's why, she would once more tell me she would be a good missionary, and she would be a good missionary because she has the love in her heart for people. That's why your children now, whatever it is, even now your grandpa, when your mother was in my house, and to me she was a 17-year-old girl in first love. She could hardly wait the phone call in the evening when your grandpa would call her. When she wrote a letter with all those kink in her hearts, and what's that? Only a girl who are in love do something like that. That's your mother. And I thought about, I said to her, I want to surprise her. I want to call your grandpa and say, come, I pay half of it, you pay the other, and surprise your wife. When I thought the clock is the ringing on the door. When I opened up, there was Hillary and your grandpa. He came there, he was kneel before her. He asked her for forgiving, and then, accept him again as her husband. And she said yes, And that's why now that he is now Catholic, and as long he has Jesus in his heart, don't put fingers up in over them. All what we have to do is pray for him, and love him. Even it's hard sometimes to love a person. He was everything but lovable, And that's your mother now. Tante Ella wanted that I should go with her. That I would be now in California too, Oh, I would love to be, but I cannot do it, And but these two sisters, they're gonna have a good time together. Now still your grandma is weak because of that, Give her all the help she can get. That's what I can say. One thing about right now is this, my concern. I mean, I am lonely, and I'm missing my wife, But I know there will be a time we will get together, not as not like a man and wife, we were married. Now it's different, Yeah, I am. Jesus is the bridegroom and we are the bride, But we will be together, we see each other. In fact, I once had a vision. I seen my mother-in-law, your great-grandmother. When I came to heaven, and looked at me, and the first thing was, where is Irma? Where is Irma? I said, oh, she's coming, look it. She's ahead of me. Yeah. I thank the Lord. He is my Savior. And He blessed me with a loving wife. He blessed me with 4 girls, beautiful girls. That is. And also, He blessed me also with 4 son-in-laws. I can also say another, when I'm saying, well, I'm not a lucky man. A lucky man is when you win in the lottery. Okay, you're lucky. I'm a blessed man.